Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining today for the first webinar of 2022 through YPC. As you may all know, I'm Dr. Mohammed Siddiquram. I'm the current chair of YPC. I chaired the YPC last year also, so it's an utmost honor to represent and then to help you guys again this year. Most of our team, as I mentioned on the Facebook, is I think 50% of the team is from the last year, so very experienced and where they worked throughout with the YPC for several years. And then we have many new members this year also, like Asma, Mustafa, and then we have many other new members in the YPC. So, you know, we're not going to discuss today what YPC does. I think all of you would already know, but we'll just try to kind of do the same thing and expand on the roles that we have been doing. We'll expand on the mentorship. We'll try to expand on the observership. We'll also have Fateh Bhai is here with us. Also, the visa advocacy is now under YPC, so everything will be, taken care of. We'll try our best to help you guys throughout this year. The webinar series is one of the most successful and most, anticipated event on an activity through the YPC. And we have the usual list of webinars that we do. But if you guys need anything else, you feel there are certain topics that we are not covering, you are always welcome to share it and the YPC or to any one of us, and we'll try to see if we can do that. So with that being said, today's webinar, as the season is now, most of you, when will be submitting your rank order list, hopefully next week or so. So we thought this would be the perfect time to kind of guide you through what the mentors and what people think in the panelists about the rank order list and give you some tips and ideas and all that. Today we have a distinguished panelist, a very good friend, Rahil Mehman, who is Associate Program Director at Baptist Health in Texas. He's also the lead in the YPC Research Committee and Poster Committee. And you've been seeing, we have been doing this poster session in YPC meetings for quite a few years. And the next one is coming up in Oklahoma in a spring meeting. I think it's in April 3rd to 6th, but just keep an eye for that and you're welcome to submit your abstract. Then the most known Gulrez Ahmed, obviously you all know Gulrez very well. He's one of the stars of YPC, very active, very vibrant. He's a Hemong Fellow at Medical College of Wisconsin and soon to be attending in next few months. So Gulrez is also co-chair of IPC this year, and he was also there last year. Then we have Dr. Asma Ali. So Asma is a pediatric hemonc and clinical genomics fellow at Mayo Clinic in Rochester, and Asma is also a YPC member this year. And we have Syed Mustafa Shah, who is a PGY1 in neurology, and good to have you. Everybody knows Fateh Shehzad very well. So Fateh Bhai has been played a tremendous role throughout in our visa advocacy and general in YPC. So he doesn't need any more introduction. Everyone knows him very well, and he'll do his best again and with the YPC to help you with the visas, questions, and whatever we can do for advocacy. So with that being said, we move on to Gulrez, and first Gulrez will give his brief presentation and talk about ROL, and then we'll go to every panelist. Thank you. Gulrez, over to
Thank you, Siddiq Bhai. We also have another young budding member of the young community, Syed Mustafa Shah. He's also joining us for the webinar today. Before we start, this
you.
session is
He's
being
here.
done in, yeah, I think he's here. But I think you forgot to introduce him.
No, yeah, I did.
You did? Acha. Chalo, this
तुम आज
session,
थोड़ा पीछे चल रहे हो.
nahi, aसल में I have my Chotu with me and Begum is at work. So, this session is being done in collaboration with Dogana. I'm Dogana YPC chair this year. Mustafa is part of the Dogana YPC as well. So that's where Mustafa came from. And my goal will be to kind of like cover the rank order list, how to approach it, and what are the most common problems that people kind of run into with rank order list, and what are the common do's and don'ts. Essentially, rank order list is the final step of your whole match journey. Inshallah, like there are people who can go on match and then they have to go into the soap. But for people who are aspirant to become matched this year, this is the last and final step. So we don't want any problems to happen in this process. And in the next 10 to 15 slides, I will go over the process. And then I will ask Mustafa to weigh in, because Mustafa is neurology, and the ROL for subspecialties is a little bit different, especially when they have categorical and advanced programs. What is match? Match process is a uniform system by which residency candidates and residency programs simultaneously match to fill first year and second year postgraduate training positions. This is accredited by ACGME, and it is run by National Resident Matching Program, which is NRMP. All graduating medical students and medical school graduates seeking a residency position need to enroll in the match process to secure a position. Few exemptions are just like the pre-match programs, which is becoming very rare nowadays, but they're still there in certain geographies of the United States. But most programs are actually in the match process. Important dates, I think like these are the most important thing that you need to realize, because at times we oversee them and wait till the last day. A lot of procrastination happens. Jan 30 was the deadline for registration of match. Then February 3rd is when the ranking opens for you and the programs as well. March 5th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the ROL deadline is. So you have to get your list in before that time. I can't emphasize more. Try to get it in a few days before. Make sure it's certified. March 17th, 10 a.m., daylight saving Eastern Time, because the watches will go forward. The match week and the soap begins, and then March 21st is the match day at 12 p.m. when you get to learn where did you end up matching, inshallah. This is a very good video of how match works and creating an ROL. I think I can play this. It's like 4.5 minutes, but I can probably skip some parts of it. But this gives you a very good assessment on how the match works. Oh, you have to see the ad.
What's going on, Gulvesh? You're on mute.
Can everybody see my window? No, probably not. Let me just switch it to the YouTube video. Just a second. Okay, so this is a 4.5 minute video. Let's watch this together. This clarifies a lot of myths regarding this process.
Is there a sound with the video? I can't hear it much.
There is. You can't hear it.
No, we can't hear
No,
the.
I think the audience
Ah,
is raising the question. There's no voice.
there is no voice.
Yeah.
तुम डब कर लो
Ah.
voice उसके ऊपर. Just explain maybe.
अच्छा सही है. I can do that. So, they're giving you 3 examples over here of 3 applicants who have ranked 4 different programs. इन्होंने पूरा एक example create किया, right? So these are all made up programs. And so there are 3 applicants who have 4 programs each where they've interviewed. And now they will go over how the match algorithm works. So now what they're covering is that the program is running the algorithm. And what's happening is that the county hospital rank order list rank the applicant A on that's the second person, not their first person, but the second person. But the applicant A's top choice was county hospital. So the system will preliminary match them to that hospital. And they will be matched to that program unless the applicant B also ranks the program high enough. And then the only way the algorithm will replace them. So essentially, no matter where you rank the program, as long as the program ranks you high enough, you will end up matching in that program. I will forward with this video. They share that example again. And so you can see in this example, Darius, who wants to be in City, Mercy, in general, Darius is essentially one of the best candidates in this whole algorithm right now because he's ranked number 1 in all programs. So no matter where he ranks any of the programs, he will match at one of these programs, irrespective of what his choices are. So frankly, right now, everyone has ranked him 1, so he will match on all of those programs. But let's just go down a little bit more with somebody else like Latha. I think they give you an example of Joseph as well.
So right there, Guruj, so Darius will actually imagine City because he has ranked City in first as number first and
100%.
all other, right? So just to
Yep.
make it clear further.
So this is the point that I was trying to cover before. So only way that you can actually be dethroned is from a spot in that program is if there is somebody else that the program has ranked higher than you. So it doesn't matter if you ranked a program 8th, 9th, 10th. If you were ranked high enough in that program, you will end up matching in that program. So now you can see an example where Sunny ranked City first, but City only has 2 positions, and Darius is the first choice and Arthur is the second. So technically, even though Sunny is going to match there, and because Darius's first option is also City, so he will actually replace Sunny because Darius is City's first choice. So Sunny will not match in City, but she might match in Mercy, but Mercy did not rank her, so she might go unmatched. Let's see. So again, it's going through the whole list. And this is the process that continues till all the applicants are matched tentatively to their spots. So now that Darius was ranked first by City and City was ranked first by Darius, this is a confirmed match, not a tentative match at this point. So now, if you guys remember, I went over it. Sunny will go unmatched because Mercy did not rank her. And then City never had enough positions for her. So now she's unfortunately going to go unmatched. So this is essentially how this works. And now we'll go back to my presentation. I hope everybody can see my slides again. Oh, come on. So now back to this. I would also highly recommend to watch this video, creating a rank order list. I have briefly covered this in the slides as well, but this is a very high value content that everybody should watch because this really helps you understand the process and make sure it's a seamless experience for everybody. So different approaches to match. What are the do's? I feel like there are a lot of myths around it, like, oh, the program I really like send me an email and I feel like I'll match there, I should rank them first. This is not how the algorithm works. I just went over the whole algorithm with you. You should rank the program where you want to be. So that's how it is supposed to be approached. So what I usually recommend is ranking programs on their merit and reputation. Of course, a university program is always better than a community program. So consider doing those. Preference for visa type, especially prior difficulties in getting visa versus immigration intention. Some people prefer H-1B visa over J1 visa. I do highly recommend that for people who have had multiple issues in the past with respect to their B1, B2. They should definitely go for H1. Immigration intention is another aspect to it. Preference for geography due to family or personal reasons. Like I just don't want to be there. I don't think I can be happy somewhere in a very remote area. So that can be another aspect that you can consider while making your rank order list. Um, I always recommend to discuss it with your seniors for input based on their experience, as not all programs are similar. There are multiple university programs that are established in small areas where they're essentially named as university, but not necessarily carry the same bones as a university. And at the end of the day, same goes for community programs. Not all programs are made similar. Everyone has their own pros and cons. And a senior might be able to guide you better, especially if they have had friends over there or if they have graduated from the same program. Do consider interview day experience while ranking how you felt about the program, because it's your gut feeling at the end of the day. Not everyone knows everything that happens in each program. So I do value a lot about the university, like the interview experience of yours. Please certify your ROL few days prior to deadline. Do not wait till last day. There have been multiple incidences past in the past where people waited and then the system had a glitch or something went wrong and they were not able to certify in due time. And then the internet was off. Like in Pakistan, of course, you don't know, you have no control over what happens. And then you are stuck in this position where you can't do any changes. And unfortunately, you were not able to certify your list and had to go unmatched. What are the don'ts that usually I get to answer pretty often? Do not rank the program basis on what they will be ranking you. Like, that doesn't matter. I just went over that video with you guys. If the program ranks you high enough, even if they're ranked 12th, 20th, 25th, 100th on your list, you will end up matching in that program no matter what happens. Choose what suits you. Match works in your favor. You will match at any program if the program ranks you high enough. Don't assume post-interview communication from a program as a reason to rank program high. I have had many instances where people say like, oh, I got a letter from the program director, I got an email from the program director, and they end up going unmatched. That communication essentially means nothing at the end of the day. It's just a customary process for some programs out there. So briefly, I wanted to go over J1 and H1 visa. I'm sorry, just give me a second. Okay. Okay. So visa types are J1 and H1. That's the most common one that people end up using to come to do their US residencies. Both are non-immigrant. J1 is tagged as an exchange visitor trainee visa. And then H1B is a temporary worker visa. H1B is utilized by many other professionals. J1 is essentially more of an educational visa. Filing process, program pays no fees for J1. It is managed by ECFMG. And then for H1B, you have to hire a lawyer who files a petition to USCIS for your employment. That's the reason why H1B is at certain times also considered a dual intent, non-immigrant and an immigrant visa. SON stands for Statement of Need, which is not needed for J1, which is needed for J1 and not needed for H1. Rejection on the basis of not having strong ties to home. This was a little bit different for J1 previously. Before Fateh had his huge interventions done over the last few years, there were more chances of J1 to be held as compared to H1B, because H1B is a temporary worker visa. Then security clearance is required for both visas from Department of State. So yes, there is always a chance for both visas to go into admin processing. Usual length of visa is 7 years for J1, H1B 6 years, but this is usual. There are circumstances where you can seek extension of both visas. Transition to fellowship for J1 is relatively easier. It's a little bit difficult on H1 because there are less programs who sponsored H1, so it's relatively tougher. Transition to independent practice green card is much faster and easier on H1B, because after 3 years, you can essentially transition to a full-time job and file your green card. While on the flip side, J1 requires a waiver for to work in a remote underserved area of US for 3 years, and then or you go back home to your home country for 2 years. Moonlighting is generally not allowed on J1. On H1, it is allowed and subject to programs approval. Step 3 is required for for H1B, while it is not required for J1. So in the next few slides, I wanted to get over the process of entering your rank order list. So these are some screenshots from the website. You have to log into the NRMP website, put in your username and password, and then pay attention to this top part, because that's the most important thing about the whole match. Where you see applicant status labeled as number 3, it should say active right now, and your status should be paid, that you have paid the fee. And this is where your status changed to certified when you have actually certified your list. It should stay in big, bolded, green alphabets, certified. That's when your match process ends and you go into the match. This is how a sample rank order list looks like. There are multiple programs. If you go here, if you can see my cursor, you find or add programs over here. And then you click this button, it opens up multiple variables where they ask for you for the NRMP registration code. You can put in the location of the program. That usually narrows down the list to the exact program. You can also put in the program's name, that will help you guide as well. And then you list all the programs down. This is the drag and drop button where you can bring programs up and down. You can actually change their numbers as well. That will also relist the programs. And then you can remove the programs by pressing on this side as well. This is usually not the case for IMGs because we pretty much rank all our programs. Certify list, this is the most biggest button. This is what you have to press after you have completed your rank order, is to ensure that your list has been submitted. This is the only button that can do it. Unless you press this button, no list will be submitted. This is what the last step usually looks like. Your ROL has been certified. This is what it should say right over here. Remember, I was saying applicant status should turn to certified in bolded letters, saying certified. You can still go edit your list till the rank order list deadline, but I would say at least do this prior 2 to 3 days prior. Don't take this to the last day. So I will now move on to Mustafa. Mustafa will kind of cover advanced and categorical program rank order list. That's a little bit of a different approach as compared to the general IM or a pediatrics specialty. And over to you, Mustafa.
Thank you,
And you can
Gurresh
just
bhai.
let me know next. I will press next for you.
Got it. So, Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm Mustafa Shah. I'm a PGY2 in neurology at University of Missouri in Columbia. And as Gurresh mentioned, the process for advanced specialties such as neurology, anesthesia, dermatology, physical medicine, rehab, radiology, that's a little different in that those specialties typically can have categorical positions or advanced positions. And that's based on the structure of their training. So in neurology, for example, your first year is done in medicine, and the second year, third year, fourth year are done in neurology, which is why it's an advanced specialty. That creates the question of whether you apply once or more than one program or to more than one program to get your complete training done as required by ACGME. So for example, the program I'm in, it's a categorical program. That means you apply once to that program, and they provide the training from PGY1 to PGY4. They have an understanding with the internal medicine program at the university or the hospital where you're training, that their residents would get 1 year of internal medicine training that meets ACGME criteria. And then from PGY 2, 3, and 4, the advanced specialty, the program in this case, neurology provides training for those years as well. The main thing is knowing that these advanced specialties can have advanced application types where you apply to different programs for the PGY 1 year and for the subsequent years, or they can have a single application for one categorical program, which provides training for all the PGY years. Could you move to the next slide, Gurez Bhai? Thank you. So like I mentioned, my experience was mainly in neurology, and the trend is that most programs are moving away from having an advanced application system where you apply to a separate PGY1 program in medicine and a separate advanced program in neurology for the rest of the years. They're moving towards a categorical system where you apply once, and that application is reviewed by the internal medicine department to a lesser degree, and then mainly by the neurology program. And if you match, then you don't have to worry about anything. It's like applying to internal medicine or pediatrics. You do all 4 years of your training in the same place, and that's the end of the story. That's the best thing, and that's what I would recommend everyone prioritize if they're applying to any advanced specialty like this. The second option is that they can have a joint program or a joint application for the prelim year and the advanced year. A lot of programs have this. It basically means that, for example, in um, Harvard or John Hopkins, they have a linked spot for the PGY 1 year if you match into their advanced neurology program. So if you match into the neurology program, they will give you the program codes for the relevant or the linked PGY1 medicine program, and you put those codes in as you fill in the NRMP list, rank order list, and the prelim position, that code will go in your supplemental rank order list, and the advanced position, in this case neurology, will go in your primary rank order list, and you have to link them together. There's a really good video on making a supplemental and primary rank order list, which I will see if I can send to everyone. It's on the NRMP website, but essentially this second variation where they have a joint application is the same thing as categorical. The only thing is you have to apply to two positions, the PGY1 position and the advanced position. If you don't apply to the PGY1 position, you're kind of lost and you have to figure that out. And the last variation is that there is no understanding between the medicine program and the neurology program. They will just say that we're going to provide you PGY2 your onwards training for whatever it is, neurology, radiology, and you have to find your own PGY1 spot. In that case, you always run the risk that maybe your advanced program ranks you and you match there, but you don't match into your PGY1 program. In that case, you would have to basically go through the SOAP and apply for a PGY1 position which satisfies the requirements of your advanced position. And that is the last thing to keep in mind, is that for advanced programs, they usually have to meet certain ACGME requirements for you to progress to the PGY 2 year of training. So for example, in neurology, they need you to have at least 8 months of internal medicine before you can progress into neurology PGY 2. So if, for example, if you had the third option and you did your prelim year somewhere, you did a transitional year where you did if maybe 4 or 5 months of surgery and then remaining months of medicine, that would not be acceptable for you to progress into a neurology spot, even if you were accepted. So you have to do your research. The best thing is to apply to the first two types, categorical and linked premium positions. And the way you make your rank order list and the way you um, make your supplemental rank order list for the premium positions is very important. If you just Google NRMP supplemental rank order list, there's a very good video that explains everything. And how you make your supplemental rank order list with the premium positions. There's some guidelines for that, just looking at similar locations that are close to your advanced program, and that basically meet the requirements of your advanced program. I hope that
Thank you,
answers everyone's
Mustafa.
question. Thank you.
That should be it. Siddiq, bye, back to you.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you, Mustafa and Gulrez. Great presentation. Hang on. Just sharing content. Okay. So yeah, no, great presentation. I think after this whole presentation, I don't think honestly that anyone should have any confusions. But we know consistently year in year out that even after all these detailed presentation, and most of the things are obviously available on the website, people still have questions, which is completely fine. and we are happy to answer any of the questions. So in the meantime, while I go to the next panelist, anyone have any questions they can put in the QA, and then our panelists can try to answer in the QA, and then towards the end of the webinar, toward the ends of all the panelists have spoken, then we'll ask you to raise hands, and then we can take questions. So moving on to now we pretty much covered how the rank order list and everything works. Now let's go on to Dr. Rahil Mehman, who is in the program leadership, and he's the associate program director. So obviously he kind of understands, and he is one of those people who kind of decides and how to rank and who to rank and what factors. So Rahil, can you just briefly explain, as a program director or as in the leadership, what factors do you guys generally see? This is the most common question that people ask is my interview went well, great, and I got these communications, I got these emails, which honestly doesn't matter much. Obviously, we understand all that. So what are the factors that you would think will make you rank somebody high versus low? So, and anything else that you would like to add, please go ahead.
Sure. So I think Gulrez and Mustafa covered most of the things. Coming back to what we do and what we have seen, what we have learned so far, this was my second year where I got involved in the rank order list. The first one was the interview, the day of interview, which matters a lot. How did the interview go? And that one, again, before interview, we get a chance to look all the application, the entire application of an applicant, and the letter of recommendations, person statements, step 1, 2, and especially step 3, visa requiring candidate or not, even there's an IMG. And that's after reviewing the application and after reviewing the interview notes, we were taking the notes. We had this platform called Thalamus, where we were putting the interview notes of each program, because if you interview like 40-50 candidates each interviewer, then you're not going to remember everything. So this time we had the notes in Thalamus, which we were reviewing during the time of rank order list submission. And the one thing which also we counted on was after interview, post-interview communication, especially if some abstract were presented after the interview, or a step 3 or some visa change or something, which was also considered. I think, I cannot disclose everything, but of course, something which are public is that the rank order does go up based on the preference. Even interview matters a lot, but post-interview communication, things that has changed things that have changed after the interview, those were considered. And then considering the applicants, considering will they come to the program or not, and doesn't matter if they have high scores, best CV, will they come to our program or not? That was also considered. Hopefully that answers the question.
Sure, definitely. Anything else that you would like to add, or then we can move on to the next panelist?
I think there was pretty much simple. I think Gurez made a very good slide. Preference is important, your location, whether you want to do, because residency is like 3 or 4 years, or sometimes 5 years, depending on the program. And is it the place that you want to do your residency for next 3, 4, 5 years, or you want to stay as an attending after that? So just please make sure that when you are ranking the program, make sure that you know that this is the right place.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you so much, Rahil.
And then I see that Dr. Noman, Ashraf Noman Bhai is also here, so he's more experienced than me, so probably he can add a few things too.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you, Naman, for joining in. So I'm sure everyone knows Naman Ashraf very well. He's been the past chair of the YPC, very involved throughout all the activities, the research and all that. And he's been the program residency program director and fellowship director also. So Naman, would you please give us your input about the rank order list?
Thank you. Thank you, Khurram, and thanks, Rahil, for the kind words. So, first of all, I think congratulations to all who have reached this stage, because now you have finished your interviews and you're doing the rank order list. I think Rahil covered pretty much what we look for. Of course, once you get the interview, it's all about how your CV is, and then once you come on the interview day, then as he said, it's going to be who you are, how you present at the interview, and how you relate with every single person over there. So that actually factors in a lot. And the one factor that a lot of people look at is your where you're from, your vicinity. So if you are closer to the hospital, you get some sort of boost in your rank order list from the program. And the reason is because we are looking not only looking at training, but also it's going to be recruitment. So if you happen to be a good resident or fellow, you graduate from the program, we would like to keep you. Now if you are from the same area or you are neighboring area like 1 or 2 hour distance, then more likely to end up in that program. So that's another factor that programs have. And another important factor is the suitability to the program. If you come to my program and of course you spend some time with the residents, even if it's virtual, you will have virtual talk with the residents. We get feedback from the residents, and the residents say this person doesn't fit, or if the faculty feels this person is not like the other typical people we have had, that also factors in. So beyond like what Dr. Mehman had mentioned, I want to talk about what Dr. Mehman said towards the end. Like for you guys, what's important for the rank order list, and what I've noticed as a program director, and Rahil kind of mentioned that a little bit. The rank order list always works in applicants' favor. So you need to remember that. You are not going to think about which program has reached out to me 10 times or 15 times. It doesn't matter. It will be your rank order list. So you make your list. You think which program is going to be number 1, 2, 3, 4 for me. That's how you put them. Now, how do you decide it? Is That's where the secret sauce is. And the first thing you do for that is you get a mentor, you get a senior person to help you go through that list, somebody who's gone through the process. And that's why we are doing these webinars also. But I'm sure from your alumni, from other colleagues that you work with, there's somebody, some of your professors that are willing to help you and just go through that. But the factors that you should look into is first is your visa. If you have a step 3, if there's a debate about H1B over J1. I think majority believes you should go for the H1B because there are lots of other factors beyond just the training. If it's a good program, decent program, and there's an opportunity to get H1B, then that's probably should be, and you have a step 3, then that should be one of the factors in terms of putting them higher. Not the only factor. Then you look at the rigor of the program. What is the quality of the program? Is it a good program that I'm going to be trained at? What is the workload? Is there a lot of scut work? Get feedback from other residents, go to the forums and see if people have written about how the residents are doing in that program, if there are any bad reviews, if the program is on probation. That data you can find out from public database. So you will still rank them, but they're going to be lower on your list, right? Similarly, if you are interested in fellowship, if this program offers fellowship, that should be your primary pick, because then it's easier to get into that from internally than from outside. So some disciplines is not a problem. In psychiatry is not an issue. You can get fellowship anywhere. But again, in medicine, you want to go to cardiology, it will be difficult. So if you have a program that has established cardiology fellowship, that should be your higher pick. Then do you have a good community and support system? So if people are moving, so you're moving from Pakistan, you're going to be suppose here somewhere in a remote town, you got to see if you have some sort of community, you have support system, you have good transportation or not, what is the cost of living. All these factors are important. Again, you're ranking every single program, but where you rank them, you got to look at those factors and apply to all programs, including transitional. Do not leave out any program, even though you know this program is on probation. Can put them at the end because it's a very tight competition right now. You never know whether you're going to get matched or not. You make your list, but include every single program on that, and please certify before the deadline. Do not wait for that. And that's all from me. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Naman. Great input. So moving on, I mean, I think again, the rank order list always works in your favor. So decide on what you like. I've seen years and years in and years out. Just like this year, I've seen at least a couple of candidates had 20, 25 interviews, and they ranked some programs based on what the programs thought about. They had great communication with the programs and they ranked the program very high. And one of the candidate I know, that in some program which was very new and ended up matching there. So nothing wrong with that, but I mean you have 20 other options, some very great programs, but because of the fear that you may go unmatched, people think that because we have this great communication program director as almost guaranteed, so I should rather put that higher. So again, please know that, and also you've seen every year there are 10, 15, 20 new programs coming in every year. And then, if we have home country residency, those kind of programs will always, like to have someone with home country residency because they are already trained. So that's another factor that new programs can consider. So moving on to Asma. So Asma, briefly, if you can first, tell the audience about your, mashallah, you have great accomplishments and your journey a little bit, and then how did you decide how to make your rank order list? What factors did you thought, and then how did they end up, towards your rank order list and towards your match? Please go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Khurram. I'm Asma. I'm currently a PEDS HEMONC and Clinical Genomics Fellow at Mayo Clinic Rochester campus. I think my journey in the matching process was a little different because I was an old graduate. So I graduated in 2016 and then came to US as a research trainee and paid position. And truly, that really opened doors for me. It was a J1 scholar position. And I went through all of my steps and then I applied to pediatrics for match. And I think as an old graduate, because of the filters, I didn't get a lot of interviews. But I think what really helped in my case was my prior experience in pediatrics and then my current research experience at the institution. And I think when I was making my rank order list, for me, it was really, really important that I factor into the people I will be working with and training, because it's very, very exhaustive when you are working as a resident. And it's really important for you because you're working there day and night, long shifts. So it's really important that you connect with the people you are going to decide to work with them. And having a subspecialty fellowship in the program was really important factor for me too. So I think those two were the most important factors for me when I was making the rank order list. And throughout my interviewing process, if I felt like that I did not connect with the faculty or the residents, or I felt like the residents were stressed during the interview process, those programs were like automatically at the end. And thankfully, when I thought about like the people and the environment of the program, and I made my rank order list, and alhamdulillah, I was able to match where I wanted to just based on that experience. I will just add one point to the J1 and H1B association visa types is that if you hold a J1 scholar research position, you don't need to do waiver if you are offered a H1B clinical visa for your residency. So that was my situation when I was done with my research J1 scholar visa. I was able to move on to H1 for residency because I did step 3 exam, and that was helpful. Another thing that I found out when I was going through the interview process that a lot of residents or a lot of applicants reach out to the programs after they have made their rank list, and they reach out to like maybe top 3 or 4 programs, and they tell every program that you are our first choice, and then they can only match at their one top choice. And I think that can be reflected bad on the applicant sometimes. So I would recommend, if you want to send a letter of intent to the program, you should only send it to the one that you have ranked at top and not your top 3 or 4, because like the community is very small, and in the future you might get in contact with people that you told them you have ranked them higher, but technically you did not rank them higher. So that would be just one advice that I got during my process as well.
Ismail, a little bit add to that is, I would prefer that you send your interest to everyone. Yeah, obviously you do not say that you are ranked, you have ranked them number 1. And I think, I mean, Noman, you would know better. Is it illegal to mention number 1? Because this is another question that I get literally every day is, should we tell them that we are number 1 or like top, or among the top choices? How do you address that?
Yeah.
Deepak, just a second.
So
Uh, we
Ji.
our policy has grossly been like we will not be responding to anonymous posts that will be coming into the QA session, whether it be on our group or in this chat. So please use your names to post the questions. Any Q&A that is coming anonymous will be discarded.
Okay.
yeah. So I think it's not illegal, but it's unethical and immoral. So I always say, do not put down that they're ranking like number 1 or number 2. Rather, you should put down that you will be in one of my top choices, which is again, you are fair because top choice can be top 5, can be top 6, right? Top 10. So reword those, because what happens is sometimes you are applying to the same programs in the same programs in the same hospital, so program directors know about it, or people talk. So and also it's not like the ethical thing to say, if they're not your number one, do not tell it to every single program. So that's why we recommend always say that you're going to be one of my top choices, and I'll be ranking you highest or higher in my rank order list. So those kinds of words are fine rather than picking a number. That would be my
Fair enough.
feedback.
Fair enough. Asma, did you get, so again, post communication, the program that you met, how was the communication throughout with your program? And say, obviously you don't have to tell the details, but like positive, yes communication, no communication, because I have seen, again, communication I've seen year in and year out doesn't really guarantees anything, and people matched even with no replies from the program and their top choice. So what was your experience with that?
My experience was I only had, to be honest, 7 interviews throughout my pediatrics residency application, because I was filtered out because of the 5-year graduate requirement from a lot of programs. And out of those 7 programs, if I recall, I think I had received communication from 5 programs about that they would be ranking me higher. And I only sent an email to 1 program, and I told them that you would be ranked number 1. And I think as long as the communication is one-sided and you are not agreeing, both the parties are not agreeing that, okay, I ranked you first and okay, you ranked me first too. So I think that is illegal and outside of NRMP. But I think my experience was that the emails that I received from 2 programs was very generic. But from 1 program, it was very clear that you will match in our program. So that was the exact wording that I got. And thankfully, I was able to match in that program. But I was not required or supposed to tell them that, okay, I have ranked you first either, because they clearly communicated that in email that we do not expect you to tell us where did you rank us in the program, but we want to let you know that you would be matching in our program because we have ranked you in that spot.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So moving on to one of the most important part of the whole match process is the visa, J1, H1, and things like that. So obviously our expert, Dr. Fateh Shehzad, is here. So Fateh bhai, whatever input you have, and a little bit more about how we're gonna do the visa advocacy this year, please go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. I thank you, APPNA YPC and Dogana YPC for arranging this webinar. I welcome the new doctor, Ayman, and Dr. the last one, Hafiz, to the YPC. We PC, as we are getting older, and your new blood is needed. About visa and the rank order list, and there is a confusion about programs saying that we do not sponsor visa. So this program don't sponsor all the visa, they only sponsor H1 visa, except J1 candidate, because J1 is sponsored by ECFMG. Other question, if you're already here on B1 doing observership, whether you can change to J1 or H1. That you have to go back to your home residency country, but this year they will not do that. And H1 is also not going to require, and you can continue working on new J1 clinic.
Fateh bhai, your voice goes off every 5 seconds for some reason.
Oh.
It comes back every 5 second आवाज आती है, फिर it goes off and then it comes back. But let's try again. Yeah, go.
My phone.
Your video is clear, doesn't stuck, but the voice just goes off completely and then comes back.
This is office computer, so sometimes it does not work.
And let's try again. Filal, it's working.
Yes.
So
We'll
let's
leave
continue.
here.
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay. So I will start again from the confusion of the programs or the candidates for program not sponsoring visas. So that means they're not going to sponsor H1 visa, but they will definitely accept J1 because J1 is sponsored by ECFMG. So the program who do not accept IMGs, they only take green card holder or citizen, they will not interview you. So if you're interviewed, that means the program will accept J1 visas. Now, if you are here on B1 visa, you can convert that one to J1 or H1, depending upon the program, and it will be no problem. And you can start working without going back to Pakistan or wherever you're from to start on your DS 2019 and your approved petition of H1. If you want to travel back, you'll have to stamp your visa, otherwise you don't need to. If you are doing J1 research, same way, you can convert to H1 and J1 clinical. It can be done, it's called category change that can be done within the USA. One of our panelists mentioned about J1 to H1. A little bit tricky if your J1 has a waiver to your home residency requirement, that can become a problem if you want to go to H1. Some J1 clinic research, they do not have J1 waiver or home requirement. That's a different chapter. I will not go on detail of that. Now, step 3, if you have done that, it will help you to get H1 because it's a licensing exam, and step 3 is required for licensing. What we will do from here, we already have H1, we already have groups for the applicants after your match is announced. We will start J1 and H1 groups and a separate group for non-visa requiring applicants. So what you will need when your match is announced, you will register with CVs and get a CVs ID. After paying your payment, your dependent can be your spouse or children will also get the CVs registration. After you receive your contract from your program, you will apply for DS 2019, which is for J1 will be sponsored by ECFMG. For H1, your attorney will do all the paperwork. You will need a statement of need, which is going to be online this year. Like last year, should be within 24 to 48 hours. It will be uploaded on the ECFMG portal. Once you get your DS 2019, then you will start filling your DS 160, which is visa application. Previous year, people used to do DS 160, get an appointment. But this year it will be, once you have DS 2019, then you will be able to submit and get appointment. And you should not worry about appointment. You should be able to get starting from April 15 onward till June 15 for the J1 as well as H1. This year it will be both. H1 will be at Karachi and Lahore. Last year was only in Karachi. So you will get within 5 to 7 days your appointment once you have paperwork. Don't get panicky that you don't see appointment. They will keep opening up. And if you don't see appointment, kindly let us know. We'll convey to the embassy. Once we have all the data of J1, H1 and where they're going to go, Karachi or Lahore, Karachi or Islamabad, we will send your names and your passport number with your AAID to those offices, consulate or embassy, so they will get you an appointment. For some reason, if you don't register, that doesn't mean you will not get appointment, but it might be late. So once we have that form to be filled, kindly fill it as soon as possible so we can send the information to embassy and consulate. We will be always there for your help as usual all year around. So don't hesitate to ask any questions. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Pradeep. As you all know, guys, that this has been a tremendous help that APPNA and YPC and advocacy we've been doing for several years now. And then I think last year almost all the matched applicants were able to get their J1 visa. Versus I remember even in my time, I lost my first residency because of the security clearance. So I know what it takes, and I know what it feels to be to match and not be able to get to because of the visa clearance. So this is something extraordinary that we've been doing under the guidance of Dr. Fateh Shahzad. So thank you, Fateh Bhai, for doing all this. Now we'll move on to the questions, but before that, I have Dr. Muska also. She is a new member of IPC and she's a hospitalist here in Houston. So Muska, if you have any comment to add, please go ahead.
Yes, so I would also add that by the time when I was applying, I was also old graduate. I was under 10, but I was considered as an old graduate. The only good thing was like, okay, I was a US citizen by the time I was applying, but my scores were not as great and I had like multiple attempts as well. So I have a really success story. I had attempt in every step. I was not a good test taker, and but I had a really good communication skills. I had like a lot of contacts. I think I was very confident in creating some good contacts. So and I would apply for the programs where actually I can directly get observership with a program director or associate program director. So I got really lucky. I got at Henry Ford Allegiance. The program director said, come on in and come for the observation. So I went, and she really liked me to the point that she ranked me really high. Like before even the match result, I applied in 8 programs and I got 6 interviews among them, despite having like attempt in each step. And then I got an email before match result that we have ranked you very high in our program. Hope to see you this summer. So I knew that I will match for sure. And that program, me and Rahil, we did from the same program. He was in a psych program and I was family medicine. So I know Dr. Mayman from very old times. So my only thing is like I would say do not give up. Candidates like me is a great example. Don't give up. Just keep your hard work, and I think you can get whatever you want. Once you get into the system, sky's the limit. So yeah.
That's true. Great input. Thank you, Muska. So, and it's absolutely true. Like, in my second match, when I was switching over and I got interested in pathology, I only had one interview, and I had all the other interviews were internal medicine. So obviously communication, the interview skills and all those things, that is the game. And then every year you will see, I mean, so even from this, like we have 70, 80 people in this webinar. So only about statistically speaking, only about 50% of you match. Half of you may not match, unfortunately, right? So then you have to work on the things that, Muska mentioned, communication, context, and all that. People will reach out. I do not have any context. I do not have any, just not knowing. Please help me. Now, how do you build those contacts? Now, you just reached out to me this year. I don't know you. Right at the match time, you text me or you text anyone. How that's not a contact. That's
No,
that's just not right. So
that's not a
you need
contact.
to build that. Now, if you are in touch with, for example, Asma throughout this year, you did not match this year. I'm just giving you example, Asma. Now you'll be getting 200 texts after this webinar. But I'm just giving an example that now you got in touch with all these folks and you're trying to seek help and guidance and throughout, and by next year now you have a reputation. Now even you haven't worked with me or Gulrez or Rahil Fateh Noman, but now you are in touch with these guys throughout this year and now they know you. That's how, just one example of building the context, besides going into the rotations and all that and then doing research, sending emails and all that. But just randomly seeking out, I do not have any alumni, I don't know anyone, and this is only works through contacts. It is just absolutely false, because last year 750 Pakistanis matched. It's impossible that all those 700 plus Pakistanis matched only because they had contacts. It just doesn't work that way. Anyway,
Right.
moving on to question and answers. Please, guys, raise hand if you have any questions. And please know that you have time now. There are like 8 people now. We can answer your questions. Do not send us text now asking the same thing again while you have the chance to ask the questions and you have people to answer it. Because I'm sure we'll be getting a lot of texts again asking the same questions. You have the chance now. So please raise your hand or type in the QA and ask the questions that you might have. Okay, Khadija, please go ahead and ask your question.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for the webinar. My question is, I'm a US citizen. Me and my husband, we applied together. We have about 5 interviews together. I just wanted to ask about a couples match. If you can just elaborate a little on that.
Noman, do you want to take this for couples match?
But what is her question? So I think the one thing we talk about couples match is you need to look at if the CVs of both people applying is good. So what happens in couples matches, one person is really good. If the other one is not good, then the one who is not good is gonna damage the chances of the other person as well. So you need to be careful. So you need to look at your CVs. If the CVs are not good, maybe apply separately in the same cities, or maybe if it's a drive of 30 minute, 40 minute. If your CVs are complementary, then definitely apply in the couples match and talk about it. Because if it's and it doesn't have to be like really good, one is really good, one is average, that will also work. I've seen that. So if there's someone who interviews with me, really good candidate, we really want to take them, and they've applied to another program in our hospital, say family medicine, I will reach out to that program director and say, hey, please consider them. But if their CV is not good at all, then it's going to hurt the chances of both. It may, if you're going to go with the couples match. So then you go separately. Otherwise, yes, go with the couple match, or you can see the programs that are in the close vicinity.
Okay,
And
thank you so much.
I think, Khadija, you can reach out to one of us later to kind of discuss maybe in detail. It's very important couples match. We have seen, like Noman said, people, matching, but then there's many times it gets, against you. So someone can probably guide you in detail about this if you need time.
Yeah, thank
Okay,
you.
moving on to next one. Muhammad Daniel, please go ahead, unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hello, hi. Thank you for this webinar. I had asked a question and Gulrez Bhai had answered it, but about me being having Pakistani passport and working in England. So is it advisable to apply from England or go back to Pakistan? But the reason I'm asking this question again is that I was under the opinion that in Pakistan, your visas go into processing or they have a higher chance of getting rejected, as was my B1, B2 previously rejected in Pakistan, and then I got it from England. So just particularly for me, what would be a good advice if I match? Should I stay here and apply? Will it increase my chances, or do I need to go back to Pakistan?
I think the chances from England would be higher. Fateh Bhai, do you have any comment on that?
2 things about it. If it's a J1, he will need a statement of need from the country of last residence. So if he puts the country of last residence England, he will need a statement of need from England. So I don't know how easy it is. So it's very easy to get statement of need from Pakistan. Similar advice is for Canadian. Regarding the visa for B1, is different in UK and Pakistan, but J1 is same in any country. Actually, it's better in Pakistan because waiting time is very little. Like Saudi Arabia, Canada, even in India, it has been few weeks to few months. In Pakistan, historically, wait period for J1, H1 has been 1 week for the appointment. Or sometimes you can get the waiver if you already have J1 research and J1 clinical. Even sometime B1 can get waiver, depends on your situation. I will say that with my experience, it's better to get from Pakistan if your last residence or your S1 is from Pakistan. But if your S1 is from UK or Canada, then get it from the Canada or USA, UK, sorry. But again, wait time might be different.
Okay. All right, thank you. I guess there are no more questions. In the chat, there's a question about the J1 moving on to H1. So the way I understand, and you guys can pitch in, J1 cannot be converted to H1 until you do the waiver, obviously. So other than that, there's no way. So the waivers are either you go back to your country for 2 to 3 years, I guess, and then or you go in underserved area. Is that right, Fateh?
J1 research, which has no
No, J1 clinical.
yeah, that is true. Whatever you said is true.
Okay.
2 years.
All right.
2 years home country.
2
2
years.
years home country. 3 years US.
Okay. All right. There's a pretty long questions. I think someone is already answering in the chat. So go ahead and all right. So no more questions from the audience. So we'll move on to the closing remarks. So Asma went last. So Asma, go ahead. Anything that you would like to add? Last tips. Please go ahead.
Oh, last step. That's a $1 million advice. I would say if you have come to this point where you are in the step of like ranking programs and that's your final step, you have already done so much hard work. And I would just say have faith in the process and listen to your gut, listen to your heart, listen to the advice that you get from your seniors and mentors, and just go with it. And rest of it, it all depends on what Allah has written for you, and whatever there is, it's the best for you.
Okay. Thank you. Fateh Bhai, you go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say a few comments about the communication etiquettes. Please introduce yourself and try to be not anonymous unless it is very sensitive information. And sensitive mean really sensitive. Sometimes I get messages or other colleagues get messages, hey, how are you? I need this question. Please introduce, be respectful. Say assalamu alaikum or whatever, at least say good morning, good evening, and say I'm doctor this or I'm student at this and doing this at this time. I need a little bit, help about a question. So that sounds better than simply saying, hey, I have a question. And it's very disrespectful to your seniors. Similarly, emails, if you email program or anybody, try to make it personal. Some emails look like they are just copy paste. Sometimes even the gender can be the same. You're addressing a female and then you're addressing a male, and it seems like that you're addressing a female. So just be careful, make personal request if you are sending multiple messages or emails.
Great. Thank you, Fateh Bhai. As one more question, if a program is 1+2, then which one to rank first? I don't understand this question. If anyone else does, please go ahead and answer. But otherwise, we'll move on. I didn't understand. Okay, Syed Mustafa Shah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think what they want to ask is like, for say, if it's a similar program like Henry Ford and it has internal medicine plus family medicine program. I think that's what the question is. And then should we apply for the both? I think that's what they meant by this question.
Naveed can raise their hand and we can get them the
I
mic.
don't think so. Naveed, you're welcome to raise the hand and we'll let you speak. But we don't understand this question. All right. And until then, I'll go to Mustafa. Are you still here? All right, go ahead,
Yes.
please, and give us your input.
Got it. Thank you.
Last remarks.
Yes. I would just say there's a lot of things to consider with the rank order list, as you mentioned, training, geography, visa, all of the above. So just make a list of what's important to you, talk to your family, friends, and your seniors. Writing and making a list helped me, and then just make a decision, have faith in the process, because I think, as everyone mentioned, not everything is in your hands, and you just have to do your best and have faith in Allah.
Great, thank you. All right, Naveed, go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, thank you everyone for the webinar. First of all, I want to ask, actually, I received an interview from a family medicine program and I interviewed twice. I believe they have different hospitals in the same area. So I wanted to ask, which program should I rank first? Should I rank the one that I got email, or the other one?
I think you should rank what you want to do. You want to do internal medicine or you want to do family medicine, and then you should rank according to that. other than,
Both were
You can
really
rank
help.
both programs. This happens with people who have like programs with primary care pathway or hospice
Yeah.
pathway or some other track. You can rank each one as well if you want. Most of these programs actually put in a consolidated unified rank order list, and then they give you an option like, hey, you chose primary care. Do you want to pursue primary care after matching?
Okay.
So you can rank both of them. It doesn't matter. Most likely the program will put in a unified solitary rank order list at the back end.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Gulray, since you're talking, go ahead, please.
No, nothing. I think we have covered everything. Good luck, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Great, thank you. Then you have Muska. You want to add anything?
No, I was waving for a goodbye. Sorry, yeah, I thought it's everybody's. But only one thing I would say from my personal experience: do not give up. I'm telling you, do not give up. Yeah, that's my
Fair.
only thing. Yes. And the other thing is like one other thing which I have recently experienced is I'm not in the residency program, but soon eventually they're going to start the residency program in my where I'm working right now. So I'm getting a lot of observants to observe with me. So I have noticed that many people, they just want everything to be like given and all the infos in a like a very easy manner, like they don't want to google or like, hey, can you help me, do you know about the program, the visa and all that, and so try to do those homework by yourself. Like we can definitely help you guys for sure to make a pathway, and but the some stuff, like you guys have to also work a little bit hard on it, like so I feel like attendings get really frustrated and angry because we are also very busy. So, like, I had one candidate who was keep asking me, "Can you please find out what visa the program is giving?" And so I graduated from that program 5-6 years back. So honestly, like things change every year in the program. So try to do those homework. Is the information is all on their website. You can call their program coordinator, and you can email them. So try to avoid these unnecessary questions, I would say. And then yes, rest we can definitely make a way and put a good words for you guys. So that's
Great, thank you. Rahil, any last comments that you would like to do?
First of all, I would like to commend Muska for sharing her personal experience. I'm pretty sure that people who are watching this webinar, they must get some kind of benefit, and also they will remain optimistic. Don't give up, stay hopeful. Even if you don't match, there is an option for SOAP. I myself matched, or Rahman by knows it, Sadiq by knows it. I matched outside the SOAP even. So there is a possibility you will get in the program if you stay updated and if you stay hopeful. Don't give up.
Great, thank you. Naman, any last input?
Yeah, so I think everything has been said. I'll just add a couple of things. Dr. Fateh Shahzad was mentioning about communications. One thing that you guys need to understand, Facebook Messenger. So that's when you leave message on that. A lot of time we do not see it. It's not a really good way to get our response. I would encourage you should all be members of our YPC page, and if you have an appropriate question, post over there. And there's a team of tons of people, and somebody will get back to you. And then we have our official ways also. Go to our YPC page on appna.org and then send us an email. But use those official channels. Otherwise, you may not get the response in time, and you feel like somebody's not getting back to you. But seriously, we don't check the messengers and those things. So one thing on that. The other thing I would say, as everyone has said, it can be challenging from now till you get matched. You don't get matched. Nobody knows. It's very uncertain, right? Stay close to your support network, get mentorship, and good luck.
Great, thank you. Fateh, you have to add something?
Just the last comment, forgot to mention about, it's very, in my opinion, very inappropriate to ask somebody who you don't even know, asking for financial help. So each program, I should not say program, each alumni, or most of alumni and some other organization might have a scholarship loan program. Asking individual loan is kind of inappropriate, and it puts us in an odd position because you might have a very touchy story, and that honestly takes my sleep away when but I can't help. We can't help 500, 700 people pay their fee or their travel expenses. Unfortunately, people who take money, they don't return it, which makes it harder for the alumni to give more loans and scholarships. But please avoid asking individuals if they answer your question. Next is like, can I borrow $3,000? It's not possible. And it really bothers, at least it bothers me. I'm sure it bothers other people.
Bilkul, and I would like to add there that we have provided loan to numerous people through alumni and all that, and unfortunately, no one, not a single person, after getting residency, signing the contract and all that, nobody reached out to us that, hey, it's been more than a year, we signed the contract, we are making money, here you go, just $100 per month we are paying back. It is so unfortunate, and I don't know how people get those kind of nerves. But I mean, and this is not one person. I'm telling you, all. So far, we haven't seen a single person. So I am but it's unfortunate, but that's the reality. Anyways, moving on. I think this is a great webinar. We covered pretty much everything. Just few last tips is obviously, rank the program where you think you have the higher chances, or you like the program best, and then it's going to go in your favor. Please look into the support system that you have. I think, sorry, somebody asked about the pathology, and I didn't touch that topic. So for pathology, and I would always advise you, for fellowships, you can get into pathology fellowships easily. It's not going to be hard. So do not look into the programs where you have in-house fellowships. You always try to do fellowships outside. J1 versus H1 is the question from every pathology applicant, and we have answered that multiple times on PAPS group. And if somebody is not in there, we can add you there in PAPS group where you'll get pathology specific mentorship. But H1 versus J1, so far the job market at this time is the best ever, and which we have seen, and we anticipate this is going to go for a long time. So J1 waiver job is not going to be a problem in pathology, at least now. Now, we don't know how it's going to get in 10 years later, but at this time, it's great. So you shouldn't have a problem. If you have bigger achievements, like bigger, dreams, like you want to be in academia for the rest of your life, you want to publish, you want to go out, present, publish books and all that, you want to stay in academia, then obviously you can opt for J1. For example, if you have interviews from Stanford, you have interviews from Harvard, Ivy Leagues, then you should rather, pursue those dreams. But if you know right away that you want to practice in community practice and a private practice and things like that, then H1 in a smaller program is completely fine. Eventually, you end to a very good fellowship through H1. And later on, I can guide on, in 4 years, you can do a lot of things on H1 and, go on green card and so on and so forth. So, but it's a personal choice. I mean, if you don't have those aspirations, then H1 is definitely better, because it's still you're going to be graduating in like 4 years plus another year of fellowship. So 5-6 years from now, we don't know how the job market is going to be. So that's about the pathology. But yeah, moving on, we wish you the very best. We'll try to answer all the questions as much as we can, but please understand and that this is, everyone is a volunteer. We say it every time, every single webinar we do say it, but still we get questions which are very basic, and not only just one day, every single day we get questions about, for example, rank order list. And just this week alone, I've gotten so many questions, and my first answer is like, did you even Google? Simple. Did you go to NRMP website? Did you watch this video? And still, if you just spend 5 minutes of your time, you can't even, if you can do that, how would you expect the other person to give you half an hour, and answer every single question that you might have? And not only that, these days, unfortunately, our younger generation feels so privileged that they need an answer right away. And if we don't reply, we get a text another like in few hours, and within 24 hours they tell you, why aren't you replying? And then I think all of you might know that the thing that ticks me off is the question mark that you send a follow-up with just a question mark. So please do your basic research, just a basic, just write down on Google if you can find an answer, and then yes, definitely please reach out. But just asking some very basic questions without doing your due diligence is just not the right thing to do. So, but we are again happy to help throughout whatever we can. I have shared the detailed plan of YPC this year on YPC Facebook page. You can always review what our plannings are and what our vision are, what our goals are. We always post everything that we are announcing on the YPC page. So that is really the biggest resource that you might have. And eventually you can always reach out. This session is recorded and we'll post it on APPNA YouTube channel and on the YPC also. So I wish you guys the very best of luck and see you until next time. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good day. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz, everyone.